I am beyond excited to bring this really new, super unique series to you that has never been done before. These next few episodes are for the handmade small business owner, the product business owner, the person who has a physical, tangible product and wants to create another revenue stream in their business. One that's maybe a little bit simpler, one that's maybe a little bit easier to scale, and one that will allow you to impact more and more and more people. Now, what I mean by this is we're going to switch and talk about digital products specifically for product-based small business owners. And this is a perfect way to take your expertise, to take your knowledge, to take what you've learned, to take your passion, and to share that with people by teaching, by educating, by showcasing, by coaching, by doing something in a way that is digestible digitally. And the next few episodes are going to interview other product-based small business owners who have done this themselves. Our first episode of this 4-part series is with Kristin from shop Hillside Studio, who makes these gorgeous polymer clay earrings, the most intricate designs. And also, she has a digital product where she teaches other people how to make polymer clay earrings. And she's making $2,000 per month in additional income from that. And that's the interview you are about to hear today. I'm also going to interview Lindsay Ashworth, and she started an Etsy shop with custom birthday party favors, party decor, like invitations and banners and things like that. Then she switched to printables to make her business even easier on her. And now, not only does she have her printables business, but she also teaches other people how to create thriving printable Etsy businesses. So you're going to hear from her how she shifted and changed her business model and added another digital product, another revenue stream to her business. Lastly, you're going to hear from Sue. Now, Sue is an artist who does these beautiful portraits where she connects with you and your soul and your energy and will draw you with your animal spirit guides around you. A beautiful portrait. And what she started to do at markets is when she was connecting with people about this, she offered them the opportunity for her to coach them, to be there for them on their spiritual practice, and to teach and share more about animal totems and animal spirit guides so that people could learn and connect with themselves even further. So these are 3 product-based business owners across 3 different industries that have created a new revenue stream in 3 different ways that I cannot wait for you to hear their stories, because I really want to plant in your head how to create more income, how to create more impact, how to get in front of more people in a way that is scalable, in a way that can reach the masses, in a way that can allow you to have even more money and freedom in your business and in your life. Now, the last thing I'm going to say is I also went through this experience with my skincare business. One of the things that I did when I was running plant-based beauty is that I had a hormone masterclass that I sold. It was a live masterclass, and then I sold the replay. And I also had hormone balancing guides of the top supplements to use. And this was a way that I took my information that totally coincided with plant-based beauty, but was able to create another revenue stream. And the beautiful part of that is throughout the hormone masterclass and the supplement guides for adult hormones, I promoted my products. And it led to more people buying my products because that was one of the components that I mentioned in the masterclass and in the guide. So you can see how it's all interwoven. Now, the beautiful part is the 3 people that I'm about to interview, starting with Kristin, are all people who I've met through my own business coach, James Wedmore. And James is not a coach for product business owners like me. He is a coach for digital business owners, people who have a digital product. And if you listen to one of these 3 episodes, or all 3 of them, and you are like, oh my gosh, I have an idea, I have a passion, I have this something burning desire in me of how I can teach something to somebody, then I want you to instantly go to the show notes and click the link to register for James, his free training, which is happening May 29th is when things kick off. It's a 3-part free training. Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday is the cadence. And enroll in that through the link in the show notes. or the link in the email if you're on my email list and that's how you're listening to this podcast, because he is going to break down how to create a digital product business where you are a coach, a teacher, an educator, and he is going to share with you how to take this idea and concept that you have and bring it to real life. So tune in to today's episode with Kristin, tune into the next few episodes, and then if that is something that you feel a tug on, click the link to sign up for that training, and I cannot wait to see what ideas come up with you for this other revenue stream in your business. Now, without further ado, let's bring on our guest for this week's episode. Well, today on the podcast, we have a super special guest who's actually back for a second time. We had Kristin on the podcast maybe a year or two ago, specifically talking about TikTok and how she was using social media to really grow her polymer clay earring business. And today we have Kristin back, and she's going to talk to us about her clay earring business and also how she created additional revenue streams by teaching other people how to make their own polymer clay earrings. So super excited to have you here today, Kristin.
Yay, thanks for having me back, Monica.
Awesome. Well, tell us, for those who haven't heard that episode or haven't heard of you before, just give me an overview and give us an overview of what you do, how you got started with polymer clay, what type of products and earrings and fun, incredible designs that you make in that part of your business.
Yeah, so I started my handmade business, Hillside Studio. I just hit my 10-year mark, which is really exciting, and I can't believe it's been 10 years. But basically just creating handmade beads and just little stud earrings out of polymer clay in my little basement closet, which this was everything 10 years ago. Now it's just my little computer room.
I love it.
But so I started about 10 years ago, and I just kind of picked it up as like a hobby of just a way of keeping myself busy and exploring my creative side again after like kind of being out of touch with it for a few years. And as a kid, I had played with polymer clay a lot. And so I just kind of picked it back up, started making some jewelry for myself. And I had a lot of jewelry very quickly because I was really enjoying it. So I thought, hey, maybe I'll just put some of this stuff on Etsy. And it kind of took off. I had quite a few sales, mostly from people I knew right away. And it just grew steadily over the years. And then about 5 years in, it grew big enough that I was able to quit my corporate job, and I've been doing it full time for the last 5 years. And I've had a storefront in there. I've had an offsite studio. I've since moved back home to my home studio, and I started teaching the craft about, I'd say, 4 years ago or so. And I've really just had a passion for that side of things as well. And it's just been a wild, glorious ride for the last 10 years.
I love it because there's so many different like dimensions to what this business has looked like for you. It's starting on Etsy, then your Instagram and social media just massively took off too. Like tell us how many followers you have across your platforms.
Um, you know what? It's funny is that I don't really keep track of it
I mean, give
anymore.
us it's like 200K plus or something crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 250 something on Instagram, and maybe like 330, three something about like that on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I think I have like 50 something thousand on Facebook too.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so yeah, it's been awesome. I really have a love for making videos, sharing my process, and I kind of always have done that. And even when Instagram was just sharing, square photos, as soon as they allowed to share videos, I was sharing just little cropped square videos. So when they introduced Reels, I was already kind of ahead of the curve. I was already on TikTok. And since I was an early adopter of that, I think I was really rewarded for that. And my platform grew pretty quickly then. And it's just kind of remained steady since then. But I still love making the videos. It's one of my favorite things. And it's like one of the best ways to share your work and share your process if you have a handmade product. Because a lot of times people don't know what goes into that. So it's educating them on everything that goes into making your products, but also you can make it fun and make it just really visually appealing to where people want to watch it.
Yeah. And I think early adopter, maybe that was part of it, but also
Yeah.
I think it's how freaking cool your earrings are and the designs that
Thanks.
you make. So tell us about, I mean, you're wearing your snake ones right now, and also tell us about like the canes, the intricate designs, and maybe give us one or two examples of some of your best sellers, what actually goes all into it, what the design looks like.
So I there's a process with polymer clay called cane making, and essentially what you do is you start out with a larger design, um, and it's 3D, and then you squeeze it out into like a long tube. So then when you take slices of that, the design runs all the way through it. And probably about 5 years ago or so, I just discovered canes and I really fell in love with it. And I started just experimenting with them all the time. And I realized I could put like small little canes together to form these like really intricate patterns. And so I really love making like floral patterns and things like that out of the clay. And that's kind of my specialty. And so that's a lot of what I teach in my membership is like how to make the canes out of polymer clay. And I will take those little blocks of patterns and cut slices out of them and design the earrings with them. And I have a lot of patterned snake earrings that are really, really popular. I would say that's kind of like what made me go viral first on TikTok and Instagram were the snake earrings. And they're still to this day my most popular earring. And it's so funny because they're the thing I get the most hate comments on
No
too.
way. Why?
I don't know
Oh
because
my
people are
God.
weird, but people will hate on literally anything. But I get so many hate comments on the snakes, I'm just like, it doesn't bother me. Of course, like they're my money maker. Like, why? I don't care if you don't like it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I love it.
so yeah, it's just like I think there's like so much you can do with polymer clay, and I love like teaching other people about it too because I just noticed that I started getting a lot of questions, and I was like, I'm spending so much time answering these questions. Like, there's got to be a way that I can put this all together to where it can be organized and people can access it when they want. So I jumped on Patreon about 4 years ago, and that's how I kind of started my like digital offerings, my tutorials, and my membership and stuff was on Patreon. And I've since moved off onto my own site, which I have much more control over and is much more user friendly. Um, but it was a great starting point to kind of get people to be able to watch my tutorials easily and ask questions easily and see other people's questions. So I'm not answering the same things over and over again.
Yeah, I love that because what happened, oh, it's so genius. It's you had this skill and then you saw a lot of people were asking questions. How do you do that? I want to learn how to do that. Can you show me how? And then it was like, ooh, well, why don't I teach people? I'm getting these questions over and over. And if I'm teaching them and providing a service, why don't I charge for this so that they can learn how to make their own polymer clay earrings and designs? And then you essentially created a completely different revenue generating stream to part of your business.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
insane. I love that.
I love that you can like go anywhere on the internet now and figure out how to do like any craft, right? Like there's platforms that kind of specialize in like hosting little courses and stuff, but there are so many people that like just teach it on their own and teach like what they know. And I think it's just like a super fun way to learn new things and get expertise from people that like you wouldn't be able to connect with in real life. So I think it's like a great thing that like if you're really good at something that you can teach it to other people. And it also helps with that, like being a maker or an artist of like your time is so valuable and you only have so much time, and your craft is, if you're really good at it, probably very labor intensive. And so there's only so much time you have to do that. And so adding another revenue stream in by teaching other people can be a way to like have some more income come in without necessarily taking up as much time as it would to just be selling your handmade product.
Yeah. And give us some details on physically what it looks like. Because you told me before we started recording that you have a membership where you have all of your clay tutorials on how to make different types of clay canes and earrings, etc. So talk us through what is the cost of that membership that you charge people who want to join, how many people you have in your membership, and what are you teaching specifically in that membership too?
So it's $13 a month. So it's a really low cost membership and you get one tutorial. Like that's what you're guaranteed is one tutorial a month. And then I will throw in lives sometimes, some color recipes sometimes, and just some other like bonus stuff, which it's kind of funny. When I first started my membership, I promised the world, and it quickly became a lot for me to keep up with. And I was realizing that people were only joining because I did surveys and stuff. People were only joining for the tutorials, and the other stuff was like a bonus. So I kind of reeled back like what I promised, which is one tutorial a month, which is plenty for people, especially at a low price point. And so it's $13 a month, or you can join a VIP option, which essentially is just the same thing. You don't get anything else, but you pay one price, which is $149, and you just get lifetime access to all the tutorials plus current tutorials. So you're just paying all of it up front, and eventually it'll be, like a great deal. And that price continues to go up as I add stuff to it. But I would say 50% of people actually choose that option, which I was a little surprised about. But it's a nice way to get some kind of revenue up front also. And I have about 150 members right now,
Amazing.
recurring members. And then there's the VIP option on top of it, which is really
Yeah.
nice. So yeah.
That's awesome. So if we just guess, I know you said it's like a 50-50 split, but if we were to guess the 150 at 13 per month, that's an extra like $2,000 per month. And
Yeah.
you're uploading one tutorial, that's what you've promised them, of
Mhm.
stuff that you're creating probably anyways, and just put a camera on to create and talk through and show while you're doing it. So it's such a beautiful way to create passive income. 2,000 across a year is 24,000. Like that's fantastic. An
Yeah.
extra
Yeah. It's a
24K, why not?
Yes, it's a really, really great like extra source of income. And so periodically throughout the year, what I'll do is I'll like host a free workshop. And then that will get people like excited about joining because there are a lot of people teaching, right? So it's kind of hard to like figure out like, oh, do I want to learn from them? And I will say, not to like knock anybody, but some people aren't the best at teaching. And also, some people like different styles of teaching, right? Like, I prefer to watch a tutorial that is succinct, that's not super drawn out, that doesn't take, you're not talking about a million things. Like, I just want to watch the tutorial and get what I need out of it. And then there's other like ways that you can connect with people and have conversations, which are like lives or live workshops or things like that. So I mix that stuff in, but I like a succinct tutorial. And some people don't do that. They just, their tutorials are an hour long because they don't cut stuff out and they just talk and that sort of thing. And some people really enjoy that, and that's fine. But in order for people to know my style of teaching and know that like they can learn from me, I do free workshops probably like 3 times a year. And those are really popular because you can, just like learn from me for free. And what I do is I do like one simple cane every single day for 5 days or for 4 days. And then the fifth day, we put them all together. So then you literally have this amazing pattern at the end of it. And that's how I kind of like get more people in. And that's usually when I sell more of the VIP option too, because I usually do a little price break on that during that. But I love to connect with people that way too. And then they can really see like my style of teaching and yeah, and they're always really fun. So
Yeah. And do you find the people who enroll, are they primarily other small business owners who want to learn how to make polymer clay jewelry to sell it? Or are they people who just have a hobby and want to make their own and want to be creative?
it's probably split half and half. I
Ooh,
have
okay.
at first I feel like it was a lot of people who had a business, but now I attract a little bit more of an older crowd. of women who are retired and just like to do it for fun. And so it's really kind of split between um, hobbyists and people who have a business. And so that was another thing is when I first started, I did do a lot of like business advice and stuff like inside the membership. And I don't really do that anymore because it wasn't the right place for it. I've kind of like separated that out. And now it's just strictly polymer clay. And then it can be a lower price point so that people who are hobbyists can easily join and get tutorials and not have to like break the bank at it.
Now, I love hearing that it's a 50-50 split. What about on your side when you did see up front it was more business owners, or even now having the 50-50 split of business owners? Were you ever worried of, oh my gosh, I'm teaching people my craft. Then what if they go and sell their earrings? Am I going to sell less of my earrings? Are they going to cannibalize what I'm doing? Did you ever have thoughts of that?
I don't think by the time I started teaching, I didn't. Early on, I was a little more hyper fixated on people copying me. I've always had people copy me, I think, and some people like just getting a general like idea for me. Some people, I've had people literally copy my branding, everything. And so I've really worked through that in the the last 5 years, it hasn't bothered me at all. But the first 5 years, I think, was working through that a lot and just realizing that, like, you literally put your energetic thumbprint on everything you do. And, like, people want to buy because of you. And if somebody wants to buy your copycat, then they're not your customer and you don't need to worry about that. I also really, truly believe in, like, sharing the knowledge and everything that I've learned along the way because like I don't know, I just don't think it's like anything that should be like gate kept or anything. Like I'm an open book. Like I will share whatever, people want to know and what people need to know and I just don't worry about that because like I know what's true to me. And I know that if somebody's copying, like that they need to work through that on their own, right? Like they're gonna like it may be successful at first, but if you just continue to copy people, like it's not gonna continue to be successful. And it's just kind of the way it is. Like you're gonna have copycats, but you're also I see people take what I teach them and turn it into incredible things that have their own spin on it as well. And
Mm.
so like it's just like I feel like it's more like I love to like empower people like look what you can do because it is can be a complicated technique, but breaking it down in an easy way so that people feel like really empowered to like learn a new skill and make it their own more than like worrying about people copying things.
Yeah, I love that. It's just looking at it differently. And I completely agree. Like, if someone's business model is to copy other people, they're not going to be in business very long.
Yeah.
And I mean, they may have a one-hit wonder that works, but it's like, okay, then what? Gotta copy another person. And it's just not fulfilling, I'm sure, to be that person doing that energetically it's going to drain them, you know? Do you teach people your best-selling items in the course too? Like you said, your snakes that you're wearing are your best sellers. Do you explicitly teach how to make those in your membership?
I don't think I have, but I think mainly because no one's ever really asked,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I do teach people how to make the printed hoop earrings, which are very similar technique to the snakes. It's just the shape of it. And so like if somebody wanted to learn, like I could, but like feel like they could take the hoop tutorial and like translate it into snakes pretty easily without much more additional instruction. But
Yeah.
I do focus more on the actual patterns than I do the earring styles, and mostly only because that's what people want to know.
Yes.
With certain things, like I will teach exactly how to do it. Like the butterflies that I do are really popular, and I will teach you exactly how I make the different styles of butterfly earrings and things like that. So yeah, I teach exactly, and there are people that do the tutorial and sell the thing exactly how I taught it exactly. And like, that's okay with me too. Like, I know that like my customers are going to find me because they like my work and my energy. And if I taught somebody else and they sell it, like, it's kind of it's kind of cool in like a different way that like, oh, I taught them that and now they're being successful with it.
Yeah, I love that. Such a good view at it. Love it, love it, love it. Now, when you think about the patterns and the canes that you teach, I also love how you said, because I want people to follow you on Instagram and pull up your page at Shop Hillside Studio, because you'll see how intricate these patterns are. And I can totally see when you say that people follow the process and also create their own by changing a color, adjusting the design, and can completely shift it. How did you learn to make these intricate patterns and canes on your own? Did you learn from someone else? Was it YouTube? Was it a combination of that and experimenting on your own? Or how did you learn this craft in the first place?
I think it was like a combination of like all of the above. The first king I tried, somebody did a live on Instagram and it was a leaf. It was like a very simple leaf. And I can't even remember who it was. I wish I could. But the second I did, I was like, oh, that was not as hard as I thought it would be. And that was really cool. And like, let me try some more. So then I would like go to YouTube and try some other ones. And I realized like I couldn't quite find the exact type of like things I was looking for. So I just started kind of playing around on my own. And there's another polymer clay artist. Her name is Margaret Newberg, and she has a Patreon called Polymer Clay Workshop. And I've learned a lot of skills from her. I don't really, I'm not a member of, I might be a member actually still of her Patreon, but I don't really follow too much anymore just because I've figured out so much in the last 5 years that I can kind of create my own things. But she has a way of working with it that like my brain doesn't quite work the same way. So sometimes the way she makes the lines in a petal, I'm like, oh, I would have never thought of that. And I don't really ever, we have very different styles. And so I don't really ever like strictly do her tutorials, but I in the early days, I definitely got a lot of valuable like techniques from her. And then just a lot of experimenting and playing around on my own. I feel like once it clicks for you, you're like, oh, that's how you do that, or that's how this works, because it's not logical to like really when you look at like, oh, how would I make these little striations in a petal? Like your logical brain would be like, I will put this piece of clay next to this piece of clay. But really there's like this art of like putting things together and reducing them down and doubling them up. And like there's a whole kind of science to how the clay works together. And so it's just like a lot of experimentation, you know, and a little bit of like seeing how other people do certain techniques also.
I love it. Yeah. So like learn from people, some of the logistics, some of the processing up front, but then bring your own creative liberty once you've got a hold on it, which
Yeah.
with your patterns, you can see how like I'm obsessed with them. Obsessed with your videos of like the time lapse to see what it turns into. It is the freaking coolest thing. So why I asked that question is because I know some people will be like, ooh, I could like turn my craft into digital products. I could teach people what I do or how I do it. But I know so many of us as small business owners, like we did learn initially from other people or from other places and then bring our own creative spin and completely like make it our own 150%. But a lot of those people may have imposter syndrome. Like, who am I to teach this? Or who am I to do this? So did you ever have that imposter syndrome? And how did you overcome it? If not, what would you say to someone who maybe has that imposter syndrome about coming out with a digital product?
I don't know if I necessarily had imposter syndrome about that because I always make sure that if I am doing a tutorial and I'm putting it out there, that it's something that like I have created. So even if I'm using like a little bit of a technique I learned somewhere else, I'm never going to put the same tutorial out as someone else, even if it's like on YouTube or whatever. Like I'm not, it's always going to be my spin on it. Or something that like I figured out, or a design that like I haven't seen before. And so it's important for me as an artist to like always create something that's original to me. And so I just use that same philosophy like for my tutorials. So I don't really worry about that. But I also think that like, as long as you are putting some sort of spin on it yourself, like that it's okay to put it out there. Like you never want to directly copy people, but you also cannot, I know a lot of people, especially when they're beginning, they get really caught up on people thinking that they're gonna like, I hope nobody thinks I'm copying. Like you have to be just like you have to know yourself. And if you know you're not copying, then like you're not copying. And like you just need to be like really confident in your creations and what you create. And that if they're your own, they're your own.
Mm-hmm.
And like just worrying about people, because I've been accused of copying before when like I did not copy. And yeah, it's weird that we came out with very similar designs at the same time, but like also no design is original. Like we're all pulling inspiration from everything else. And so like just don't get in your head about like worrying about copying. And I also would say that if something comes naturally to you, like I do feel like even though I worked at Cane's, it came pretty naturally to me. And I can see in my students the people who it comes naturally to also. And usually it's people that are really in touch with feel, because they can feel what the clay is doing in their hands. And so people who are more in touch with like really living in the moment of creation rather than being like outside of it are the ones that pick it up pretty quickly. But if something comes really naturally to you, then like that's maybe something where you want to think about like teaching it, because the things like that we're the best at that we think like, oh, nobody would want to learn this is usually the stuff that people want to learn, because it doesn't come naturally to everybody. And so just like if somebody's out there and they're trying to, you know, come up with like, oh, what could I teach? Or should I be teaching this? Is like, what are the things that you're good at? What are the things that you don't even have to think about doing that just like come super naturally to you?
Yeah. And I think that makes it fun too. Because if it's like so natural to you and you love doing it and you got your spin on it, you got your style, you got your way, that's just fun to share that with other people.
Yeah.
And just like, I don't know, help everyone get a little more creative in your point of view with what you do, help people to learn a new hobby, have something that really helps them to wind down or start a business or whatever it may be. So I love that. Now, I want to ask you one more question, which is you alluded earlier how you used to give biz advice in this clay tutorial membership, but took that out because now it's more for people who just want to learn the clay tutorials. So I know you have another part of your business, which is kind of morphing into using astrology specifically for business owners and helping business owners in that way. So can you just tell us about this other digital product that you now have and are finessing?
Yeah, so it's called Craft Your Destiny, and it originally has started out as just like a coaching program for people with, specifically women with handmade businesses. And I really love teaching about business and mostly teaching about being intuitive in business and creating a business that works for you, and not going with like all these strategies that everybody else uses just because everybody else uses them, but really like sinking into your intuition and running it from a place that feels like really true to you and is really what you desire. And over the past 5 years, I have a personal astrologer that I meet with monthly, and she's incredible. And we go over like all of my transits and what's going on in my chart and like how to use them in my business and my life and all the things. And like I've really just found like it to be so incredibly helpful to use astrology in that way. And so I'm working on developing a like more astrology based approach to this coaching program. So I'm kind of revamping it and hope to get it out again in the next couple of months. But really looking to your birth chart to kind of see like how branding would fit into your business, or like what the best times are to launch certain things, or like what style you like to have in your business. Like, are you a very structured person? You like to have your day completely mapped up? Do you need like a lot more freedom in your day and in your business? And just using your own astrological chart to kind of help you along the way in your business. It's something that has helped me immensely over the last 5 years, and I'm just really excited to share that with other people.
That is awesome. I love that. And what will you charge for that, or what has it been in the past?
So I'm thinking it'll be $9.97 for the lifetime access, but I haven't fully decided yet on it. That's the price that's kind of like sticking out to me on that. And it'll be, I think, like 6 to 8 modules with the group coaching calls, and then you'll get access to the content like for life. So
Yeah.
it'll be like, I'm thinking like, but each module will have like a strategic business approach, like the astrological approach to it, and then like some kind of deep dive, like mindset work to it as well.
Mhm. And it's another great example of how you took what you're passionate about, astrology, mindset, business, and are helping other people with it too. I
Yeah,
love that.
I'm super excited about it.
Last question before we get all your contact info and where people can find you is you are still running your own polymer clay earring business, and you have the clay tutorial membership, and you're working on this other digital product, which is like encompassing astrology and business. How do you balance all of it?
Well, sometimes it's difficult. I will say that as the digital side of things grows, which is I'm a lot more passionate about it right now. And so that's like really where I'm focusing on. So as that stuff grows, I just don't make as many earrings, and like that's okay. Like I feel the shift more towards the digital side of things right now. And in the past, it's just been a lot more of earrings. And so I think it's just like really like sinking into like how it feels for you and that ebb and flow, and like it doesn't have to be one way and stay that way, and just listen to yourself and figure out like, okay, right now I'm really feeling more of like helping other people learn clay or learn business or whatever, and like I really want to concentrate on that right now, so I'm just not making as many earrings, and like that's okay. And if I go back to a time where I'm like, I really am just, I can't get enough designs out of my head fast enough and just making all the things and selling all the things, like it's just really, I just am really good at listening to myself, and I'm not afraid to pivot and change and move and go in a different direction. And they all kind of fit together, and so I have just built it in the way that like I can easily flow from one thing to another.
This brings up another question from me. So, with your Instagram, you have your shop Hillside Studio where you sell your earrings. That's also where you talk about the clay tutorials and the membership. You don't have a separate Instagram for that. Is that correct?
Correct. I do have a separate Instagram for the Craft Your Destiny, which is Craft Your Destiny. It's
Beautiful.
craft.your.destiny.
Hmm.
So I do have a separate Instagram for that, but all the clay stuff is on Shop Hillside Studio.
Yeah. And I like that because you said how it all commingles, but it's to the point that you don't need three separate Instagram pages.
Oh yeah,
Those
no.
two perfectly. If you want to buy an earring, cool. If you want to learn how to make an earring, cool. Here's both ways to do one or the other. So I love that. Would you say too that you kind of alluded to this earlier? And I know with digital products, there is a lot of legwork to get things up and running, but would you say it's easier or simpler to scale compared to a handmade business, knowing that you've had success in both? So how does that compare to you?
I would say that it's definitely easier to scale for me, it has been easier to scale the digital side of things because um, it's mostly all online, and any like help or assistance that you would need in it, you can get virtually, as opposed to most of the things in like a product based business, like with the exception of like a virtual assistant or something like that, you need to have in person. And so there's a lot of I felt a lot more pressure and a lot more responsibility towards employees that I had in my store, in my studio, helping me make and ship things. And it just felt a lot heavier, a lot more pressure. It was a lot more work. It was a lot more time consuming to manage people in that way rather than like in a digital sort of way. So I have felt that like it's easier, and probably more aligned for me to do the scale the digital side of things, and like keep the earring a little bit smaller. And especially with it being like an kind of artisan product, like I do feel like my touch on it is necessary. And in some products, it's not like that. And so those things may be a little bit more easier to scale. But for me, I enjoyed learning about it. It was like a crash course in personal development for those 3 years for sure. But I have found a lot more ease in scaling the digital side of things.
Yeah. And I think on the super tactical side too, you mentioned it's one tutorial per month. So really you could have 100 people in this membership, 1,000 people, 10,000, and no matter what, your deliverable is one tutorial each month.
Yeah.
And it's maybe an hour, and maybe there's like a member community for Q&A. It takes a little bit of time. But on the flip side, if you think about 10,000 earrings for you to make versus 10,000 members in this membership, 10,000 earrings would be like, oh my God, I need to hire a shit ton of people to get this out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I basically had 3 people working, full time on earrings, like nothing but making and shipping earrings. And that was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's so awesome to have you and just see how your business shifts and hear just like how things change and how things grow and how you evolve. And it's been so good to have you back on the show. Can you let everyone know just your social media handles once more, your website, where they can find you?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Shop Hillside Studio and craft.your.destiny. And my website is shophillsidestudio.com. And you can find links to all my things there. So,
yay. Awesome. We'll link them in the show notes so people can follow you, learn more about you, see what this membership is all about, this astrology and business, Craft Your Destiny is all about. So thank you for that. And thank you for being here, Kristin. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks so much for having me back, Monica. It was fun.
If you found this episode inspiring and you have an idea of what you can teach other people, then make sure to go to the show notes and to register for Rise of the Digital CEO by my own coach and mentor, James Wedmore, who is also Kristin's coach and mentor for her coaching program, to see how to create a digital product-based business so that you have another revenue stream in your product-based business and can impact even more people. Check the show notes. I cannot wait to see you there.